Here, move that back in frame. Oh. 1 minute. Stephanie's gonna try and fool everyone. She talked about this earlier.
It's a
different day. It's a different hat.
I have a hat on now. Wow.
Can't you tell
Tricked you.
It's a new day just by Stephanie's hat?
Beautiful day.
Just kidding. It's the same day. Stephanie just put a hat on. She looks
Right.
like Madeline now.
I do.
You do look like Madeline. It's your Madeline hat. I think it was red, though, her hat.
And her evil sister, Madeline.
If there were to be an evil sister, it would be named Tataline.
Okay.
Okay. We did this together. So would you like to take
I'll
it
do
over? Why not?
Welcome to Chit Chats, a totally unedited space where we break the cycle of what it means to be a woman together. Today. You shake, I pick.
Today, like it's a different day.
Today.
We're really trying to fool you here.
I'm going to try to do the little papers.
I know, the little papers. We have so many good ones still left in there from you guys giving us suggestions.
Okay, ready?
I don't know.
Drum roll,
Am I ready?
Ooh. Religion.
Ooh, baby.
Ooh, boy.
This is spicy.
This is a good one.
This is a good one.
Okay, I'm going to just kick. This is our new Shure microphone case.
That's
Not
how tiny
sponsored,
it is.
but if they'd like to.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say no. I'd like to preface this entire conversation with this following disclaimer. What you choose to believe is yours and yours alone. Mm-hmm. We will never knock anyone for their faith. It is a very personal decision. Mm-hmm. We are strictly sharing our experiences and our personal view on religion.
Yes.
So you can take it for whatever it's worth.
Also, I think it's safe to say that we both come from religious trauma.
Oh, for sure.
So a lot of that trauma, therefore, is what
trickles into
is
how
trickling
we feel
into
about
this
it.
conversation.
Correct.
And how we feel.
Correct.
So I think that's a great way to start this off. Would you like to start? You want me to start?
I'll kick it off.
Okay.
So I am a recovering Catholic, is how I like to put it. I had
Make a good t-shirt.
Yeah. Oh, trademark. I had Catholicism pretty much shoveled into me from a very, very young age.
I think most of us probably have that, right?
Yeah.
Whatever religion we comes from is just kind of put upon us.
The problem came into play when the things that I was naturally experiencing as a young woman, puberty, feelings, whatever, they were very demonized, and it was the guilt trip was immeasurable. Like I had to do so much work in therapy to undo religious guilt when it comes to being intimate with another person, because I just thought like I was the devil for having like normal feelings. So that's kind of where it came from with me. On the flip side, it taught me how to have faith and hope in maybe something that I cannot see or feel or hear. So that carries with me into certain hardships where I'm like, well, if I can believe in a made-up book, I can certainly believe in myself for 5 seconds. So I was really heavy in it, but unfortunately a lot of mine was guilt-based, and I didn't want to like burn in the fiery gates. So I was very cautious on what I did, what I thought, how I acted. I was a chronic people pleaser, and that had a huge connection to my faith, religion. I just felt like I wasn't actually doing things because it was good to help other people. I was doing them so that like I didn't burn in hell, and that's not what you're supposed to do. So I would say it's definitely more spiritual now.
Yeah.
I still have faith, but it's just not a hard, conservative, biblical faith.
I love it.
I still I'll wear a cross. I'll wear Mother Mary. Like I have certain things. Like I'll pray the Hail Mary every once in a while with my mom if, you know, we're at dinner or whatever, but it has a different interpretation and meaning to me now.
Yeah.
Same. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, that's it. That's the end of this. No, so for me, I grew up in a Jewish household.
Mm-hmm.
So we grew up going to temple, but we went to Reform temple. There's like four different sects of Judaism.
Right.
Reform being the least religious group. So, you know, we still drive and do all of that stuff on Shabbos and all of that. I will say, because I love that you put the good as well, religion taught me to have pride in my ancestors, my upbringing, and what I've come from, and B, tradition and family and the importance of family. And that was always really important. It was always less about like the religious side or like what I was doing, and more about like I got to hang out with my cousins and eat really good food and be around my grandparents and my mom and my aunts, and like just really enjoy being in the presence of family. That was always really, really special for me. And that is what I will continue to do if I have children myself with my husband.
Right.
That's part of what we would like to do. It's not so much about the religious aspect. It is going to be about the traditional aspect of having family, friends, people around to celebrate like just a good meal and to be connected in that way. So, like I said, I grew up Jewish. As I say to my students all the time, and just anybody who will listen to me basically, it's not like when I was in the womb, I had a checklist and I checked off like white skin, blue eyes, Jew. Like, nope. Believe it or not, I did not have a checklist, so I don't quite understand the hate that people have for people who are born Jewish, because I didn't choose it, so I don't understand. But
look, I still, to this day, one of the craziest parts of history is the Holocaust.
It is. It's crazy.
And there's a lot of horrific things that have happened.
Yeah, and it wasn't just Jews involved in the Holocaust.
But like the fact that it happened and that there is documented proof and people still deny it.
Yeah. Yeah. But so for me, I loved growing up. We went to temple. I went to Hebrew school. I took real pride in that aspect of my life. Every Friday night we'd get together with my grandma, and my mom would make challah, and we'd have Friday night dinners. Like, I loved all of that. I was never also ever told growing up that I could only marry within the religion. So my fun story is that when I was 16, my brother is 10 years older than me, my oldest brother, and this is just from my account, so if my mother ends up watching this, which she won't, this is my side of the story, and you feel free to have your own. So when I was 16, my brother got engaged to his wife. My sister-in-law is not Jewish fully. She is partially Jewish. And my mother freaked out. Like, literally had, I don't even know. She became a different person in my eyes. And basically told my brother that she would not come to the wedding because she did not agree with his decision to marry my sister-in-law. It tore our family apart. So I was the only child left in the house. That's when my parents started to really argue and ended up getting their divorce 5 years later, thank God. My mom did end up going to the wedding, but there was a lot of really bad stuff that happened before everybody got married, and there was lots of arguments, and literally our family just crumbled. And to me, that's where my religious trauma comes from, because I literally saw the destruction of my family. And then my mom would like come in my bathroom in the morning and be like, you need to marry a Jew, and like just leave. And it was, for a 16-year-old who is not thinking about marriage by any means, that is so jarring to have your mother say that and then leave, or like have a boyfriend who wasn't Jewish and then she asks you if he is. You say, no. And then your mother doesn't talk to you for 4 days and pretends like you do not exist, which is literally what happened. I talked to her and she would pretend that it was the wind. I mean, it was so hurtful and left me with such a scar. So now I deal with this thing, and my husband and I talk about this all the time because of what happened in my family. I have such strong religious trauma.
Yeah.
But I also fear people who literally
Like
who are religious. I'm like,
oh
God,
so
you're religious? That means that you must hate a lot of people, because I'm sure
my
I don't know.
my ex's mom. Wow. When I tell you, just like hardcore religious, which was weird because a lot of her viewpoints were extremely hypocritical. It didn't, a lot of it didn't make sense. She tried to live her life by Jesus and the Bible and God, yet she did a lot of things that were not godly or biblical. So it is really unfortunate that
so much of it is
it's what, I don't even know what it is, like what the pull is that you're just, it feels like you're brainwashed into this thing.
I don't know. It's just, so anytime that somebody tells me that they are religious, I immediately feel myself like,
but I think there's a proper way, right?
Of course there is. I have so many, like 2 of my really good friends are very religious, and like literally go to church every Sunday.
I have a buddy who, you know what, I'll tell you what, I got a friend who, he's religious and he's extremely conservative. The 2 of us have the most pleasant conversations, and we disagree on mostly everything, but we agree on tradition, things like that. So, but it's fascinating to sit and have a conversation with him because we are so different, but he allows me to speak freely and I allow him to speak freely, and I think that's what's so nice about it, is that we don't judge each other based on our beliefs. We might not agree with it, but we're never disrespectful to each other.
I think we just, like, I am trying to work on, like, my initial reaction to people who are religious, because you may believe in very similar things that I believe in, right? That love is love, and like all these beautiful things that like anybody can be whoever they want to be, and all of those things that sometimes religion gets put as that people have to fit into a box. But like, just because somebody is religious doesn't have to mean that they also don't believe that everybody is accepted. It's just a certain few that speak very loudly in those areas. So I'm working on that because of my own religious trauma, because I'm so fearful of people who do that. And like, that's my own stuff I have to work on, because it's not fair, right? Like literally when we were in Orlando for Podfest and I was staying with one of my friends who is religious and does go to church, like we had gone to see a talk from somebody who was very religious. She was talking all about Jesus and how he saved her and all of this stuff, and how he made her in her business and all of this stuff. And I'm listening to this woman talk. I'm trying to be as open as possible, and yet I just keep thinking to myself, man, you must hate people who are other.
Yeah, I think what's hard is, the thing that's hard for me is when I'm telling somebody about an accomplishment I've had, and they're like, oh, I wouldn't have done it without God. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure regardless of whatever's, God's not here, so you are still doing it, so give yourself credit. And so that's the one thing, is like, all of those things that I have done in my life, I had faith, but I had faith in myself that I was going to do it. So there's nothing wrong with having faith in someone else, but you have to be able to give yourself credit for things. Yeah, you've worked really hard for them. You know, it's like, I don't know. And sometimes I think it's really, Ellen DeGeneres has a joke. She talks about how there are rappers talking about like the most grotesque, like inappropriate things in their songs, and then they win an award and they go up on stage and like, I want to thank God. And like, you're just like, oh my God, this doesn't make any sense. Like,
yeah. religion is a beautiful thing if used correctly.
Yes.
The thing that I dislike about religion sometimes, and what I found, is when somebody tells me that I can only fit inside the box and look in the box for growth, or like that to me
Yeah.
doesn't work, because there is so much more color outside and differences, and like everybody should be accepted, because I don't know if I believe in God, to be honest. Something created something.
Yeah.
I don't know what, but it's something. But if this person did exist, I often ask myself the question of, well, why would they make us all different if they wanted us to be the same?
And you know what? I think that's a good place to end. And honestly, I think that's the question for the comments.
Yeah.
So sound off, be respectful.
I can't wait.
Or don't say anything at all, because sometimes we don't get any comments. And that's totally fine too. Silent listeners, I love to see it. If you want to know more about us and you want to get to maybe purchasing one of these cute little shirts that we made, and this one hand tie-dyes,
Ice
go to
tie-dye.
www.cyclechats.com. Links there. Like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. I think we're going to try to record one more of these with a different hat. I hope you sync
up with us next time in a different hat.
In a different hat.
You also have to wear a different hat.
Yeah, you specifically.
Yeah,
You.
whoever's watching.